Welcome to the second Project Breakfast video, Understanding School Food Service. In this video, you will learn more about school food service and things to keep in mind when starting a new program. This is designed to be a general overview. Please talk to your school food service director if you would like additional information. Today, school food service serves more than just lunch. In addition to lunch, your school may participate in some or all of the following programs, such as school breakfast, summer meals, the fresh fruit and vegetable program, or the special milk program. Be sure to talk to your school food service director to find out which programs your school participates in. All of the programs are administered at the federal level by the USDA. The Healthy Hungry Free Kids Act of 2010 was the first major change to school meals in more than a decade. The changes are based on the latest science information and the 2010 Dietary Guidelines for Americans. School meals now include more fruits, vegetables, and whole grain-rich foods. Only fat-free and low-fat milk is served. In addition, there are right-sized meals, which serve portions which are designed for the child's age. And finally, meals are lower in saturated fat, trans fats, and sodium. It is also helpful to remember that each of these programs has its own unique requirements. Your school food service director has the responsibility of ensuring that the different program requirements are all followed. As you start thinking about what foods you would like to see offered at their grab-and-go breakfast, your school food service director will be able to tell you how the various foods fit into the requirements, as well as the cost and food safety guidelines that must be kept in mind. The food served the first day of school in the fall is planned many months in advance. In fact, some of the planning begins in January when school food service staff start to look at what foods they would like to serve. In February, schools can attend the Commodity School Food Show. At this show, they can learn the new foods that will be offered by the USDA Commodity Food Program. Your food service director can let you know any new items that might be available to offer at breakfast. To get the best prices, the school food service director then completes rebates and puts foods out for bid. Before the last day of school, menus for the fall are ready to go. In addition to tracking the food cost, the food service director must also gather the necessary nutrition information for all foods that are served. This is done at the end of the school year or during the summer, depending upon the school food service director's time. Here is a list of popular grab-and-go menu items from the schools that are currently serving grab-and-go breakfast. Top selling items include the Smucker's PB&J Uncrustables, Super Bakery Mini Cinnies, cinnamon rolls, Benefit bars, sliced banana bread, banana mini loaf with chocolate chips, string cheese, and the breakfast burrito. A few of the popular items with fruit include yogurt and fruit parfaits, smoothies, apples bananas with peanut butter, applesauce, strawberry applesauce, and mandarin orange fruit cups. The type of equipment you need to set up your grab-and-go will depend upon several factors, such as the location of your grab-and-go from the kitchen, storage, access to electricity and wireless internet, and the number of staff available at breakfast. We are going to look at several pieces of equipment that schools currently in the Project Breakfast program have been using. Many schools are using the stainless steel tables you see in this picture. It has a shelf at the bottom which allows you to store extra items so you do not have to go back to the kitchen to restock. If you look to the far right of the photo, you will notice a vertical bar that can be used for signage, such as your school mascot or to post the time and cost of breakfast. This school is using two tables, which allows them to use the laptop and school pin reader on one of the tables. Here is the same table. Many schools have found it helpful to add a tablecloth in the school colors. In the photo on the left, you will also notice some vertical baskets, which helps make use of the small space. As you are thinking of your grab-and-go breakfast cart, be thinking of a small coffee or breakfast cart that you might see in a mall. What can be done to make this coffee cart look appealing? Look through food service display catalogs, as this will give you a lot of ideas. This school has more space and is able to use a long table and a short table. Note how the extra items on the bottom shelf are neatly placed in 4-inch plastic pans to give it a clean look. This cart is much smaller but still contains a lot of choices. School staff have found creative ways to get as much as possible onto these carts. Another option is to use a portable salad bar. Some schools have found it helpful to have a container for students to put the food in. The plastic bags on the left are pre-filled with the students' breakfast. Students take what is in the bag. Sometimes students are offered two different bags to give them two different choices. Some schools use the same bag but have the students grab an empty bag at the beginning of the line and select their own food items to put into the bag. Another option is to use the plastic clam-like shell as seen in the picture at the right. Finally, here are a few more ideas. The Dairy Council has milk coolers you can purchase. As mentioned before, try using colored plastic containers for the food as it adds a lot of color. Finally, if your grab-and-go breakfast cart is located a significant distance from the kitchen, consider purchasing walkie-talkies so the food service staff can communicate with each other. It usually is not possible for the person staffing the cart to leave the cart unattended. Thus, a quick message back to the kitchen to have someone send more food is really helpful. For more information on equipment and menus and how to order the equipment, please go to the Project Breakfast Manual or the Project Breakfast website.
Over the next few slides, you will hear from Annette Darwin, Food Service Director with 3 Project Breakfast school districts, Willmar Public Schools, New London Spicer Public Schools, and Montevideo Public Schools. Annette has some very helpful tips on how to set up carts with 3 different school districts, as well as things to think about before you start your new program.
I think the first thing is, as you're looking at the menu and the cart setup, is to keep it simple. And if you're working with multiple sites, try to be consistent so that it just makes it easier in terms of the management aspects. After that is to get approval from the health inspector, making sure that whatever questions or concerns they have with the setup of the cart is, do they feel you need pre-wrapped items, particularly including silverware? Do you need anything to chill the milk and the juice and fruit items? What are some of their hot buttons that during an inspection they might bring up, and you want to just offset those by just letting the health inspector see your plan and go over it with them in advance so that there's no surprises when they do a review and you're not having to make major corrections after you've already started the program. Then actually setting up a cart with the pans and we use camp chillers, baskets, the computer, and the riser for the computer, and then walking through with staff. Does this setup look like it will work based on their experience? I took pictures of it because I work with multiple districts, and then emailed those pictures to the other districts, got their feedback. We adjusted the plan a little bit, and to make sure that the questions get answered related to how to set up the cart and utilize the cart from the very beginning. And then just being flexible with that. You know, maybe my ideas to set up the cart weren't feasible based on the location where we ended up having to put the cart, based on what products seemed to go well with the students, and then take the suggestions that were offered by the staff and actually redo the plan as needed and bring it back so that we could again then have consensus and agreement. What we saw with numbers in the Willmar district is that breakfast doubled. We're running anywhere from 650 to 700 breakfasts with a student enrollment of about 1,150 students. So, I mean, our participation has been phenomenal with this program. And so we run a traditional line breakfast, hot foods in the morning. We run the breakfast cart with cold food items, more grab-and-go in that music pod, and now we're doing 2 grab-and-go options, one on the main and the second floor of the high school. And the response from students has been phenomenal. They are looking for specific items every day that they just count on us having, and then we also do try to change it up periodically so that it isn't stagnant and that they're tired of having the same thing, that they have some additional options. So far, it's been just a wonderful overall experience with Willmar schools, and we're seeing the same thing in Montevideo, where they've added a second cart because their counts were so high. And New London had actually added a second cart to their first cart in their location to give the students more variety. And honestly, it's one of the best programs that we've added to our senior highs is this second chance breakfast for students, because what we're seeing is students really prefer to have a breakfast a little later in the morning, and this program has given us that opportunity to test it and find that this has been very well received by students, and it's something they want, and that's what we should be doing in food service in the school districts, is providing students with things that they want.
We hope you enjoyed this second training video and have learned a little more about how to approach your new breakfast program. Now it's time to make solid decisions as a school breakfast expansion team. Your food service director will take into account all the ideas discussed and decide what equipment or other items need to be purchased and develop a budget. Keep in mind that anticipated staff time can be built into your budget and paid for with the $5,000 grant funds. Once the final budget has been submitted to Project Manager Amy Shanafelt, you will receive your $5,000 grant funds within about 30 to 60 days. We will also be providing a few more training videos. One from the Minnesota Department of Education with more detail about school meal regulations. Another more specific to food service with more detail about what to think about as far as setup and management of your new program. You will have a chance to see a fun video highlighting what marketing options are available from Community Blueprint. And finally, a video on effective ways to communicate and promote your new program. Good luck, and remember, your extension representative and the research team are always available for questions and support.